Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I have a friend. I can't believe it.
And I have a friend.
And we don't have to be...
my friend, sorry.
And I
love you more than
Diet Coke. I have Michael Bublé in can format.
I just want you to know that I do like you more than Diet Coke.
That is a really,
that says a lot.
Really huge compliment. I am truly blushing. Anyways, so today, Alana is here from Classy on the Run. We go way back, probably like 8 years at least.
How?
We use anti-wrinkle products.
No, we don't. No.
But today, we're just naturally this beautiful. So today,
no makeup.
No
makeup
none.
either.
This is natural glow.
Woke up like this.
We wanted to talk about our foray into the beauty blogging world. Maybe how we've talked about how we met, so we don't need to necessarily go into that. But maybe how we started and how you could start a channel or a platform of your own if that is something that you've wanted to do. Because I've definitely had a lot of people reach out to me, friends mostly, and otherwise just people I've met online. And I feel like things have changed a lot from when we started.
Yeah, but I'd also just say I say this with love, we're not that special, right? We're just normal people with normal jobs who happen to have a face that puts on some makeup, a camera, and the only thing I have that most people out there don't have is some lights, but I bought these lights off Amazon, so you too can have them.
Yeah, it doesn't really take that much, and that's something that I can go into, it really has to be part of your life already if you kind of want to be a content creator. It's really might be easier than you'd expect.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start. I guess that's kind of just how I got going. So my channel is called Classy on the Run, and that's what my blog was called. And I kind of still have a blog. I don't really use it. That's another discussion. But the way I got started is I've always loved makeup. I've loved, when I was a kid, I had to have the biggest collection of lip smackers. Mm-hmm. I had the biggest lip smacker collection. I would go to the dollar store and buy the sparkly hair gel, and
I was in little pack rat as well.
Oh my god, I was such a pack rat. I was. Look, you guys can't see what's beyond the frame. Still, I'm a pack rat.
You either love stuff or you're a minimalist, and we're not.
I'm a maximalist. But anyways, kind of where I'm going with that is I always loved makeup, and so you know what? When I was 12 and I'd be putting on makeup, there were some makeup looks I wore to family functions that I look back on and I'm just who let you out of the house?
It was always the family functions where I was I'm trying great.
Got to impress my aunt, uncles, and cousins.
Eyeliner that just didn't, you can wear more of the gray tones. I love your eye look right now.
Thank you. I was thinking more hot purple was where I was, or I did a lot of teal.
Yeah.
But for me, I always loved makeup, and there was a lot of trial and error early on. But by the time I got to high school, eyebrows weren't a thing at the time. But nobody had them. There was nothing going on. But by the time I got to high school, I'd have all my friends be like, Alana, I love your makeup today. Or, Alana, how did you do your eyeliner? Or, how did you do your eyeshadow? I would just constantly be getting compliments.
Okay, so you were the makeup girl.
I was the makeup girl.
Interesting.
And I just kind of got to this point where when I was in university, I never saw myself blogging, but I always loved following it and reading people's reviews. And I always thought there's no way I could do that, which I mean is a lie. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who puts in the effort can do it, right?
Yeah.
But by the time I got to university, I was studying, I was working, I was dating a guy who I married. And all of those were in sort of the same space that's very much in the industry that I work in now. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a lot of serious, important, heavy topics. Yeah. And I didn't have a space to escape to. So I started a blog by taking photos of products on my couch.
Okay, so you started with products and reviews.
Yeah, that I already own, and just taking pictures on honestly, I look at some of the photos and I'm this was an iPhone 4 picture on a brown couch.
But it was funny because it didn't really matter
it wasn't as curated then.
For sure.
But anyways, I got better, right? Obviously you spend time doing something, you do something better. And I just wanted a pretty pink place to escape to. And at the time, I didn't want anyone to know that I had a blog. I was really embarrassed. I didn't want my face on it. And so all of my pictures for the first year were just product shots or really zoomed in little eye shots. Mm-hmm. And, it took me a while to be more confident saying I have a blog or I'm an online content creator in addition to my corporate job. And now, obviously, this is my face. If you tried, you could find my professional stuff. And now I don't really care. I'm not embarrassed to share it, but I was really embarrassed at the beginning. And for me, it was just my pretty pink little escape.
And it's a good point, that whole fact of, it's embarrassing or like I don't know how to talk about it, but I love.
Or it sounds self-serving.
Yeah, it's just
is.
Sometimes confusing, to explain to people. So yeah, like my kind of like origin story online, I've always been a magazine person. I've grown up with two sisters.
Worked at a magazine?
Yeah, more or less. Like worked in kind of publishing. So I always loved reading magazines. I've never really been like a fantasy novel person. Like my reading was exclusively magazines or books about like New York and LA. So
okay, I love that. I mean, my books that I really enjoyed reading, like, you know, Catherine de Medici and kind of how she took over the world. Really enjoyed
Strong
reading
female
the Tudors, Queen Elizabeth I. Like, I've read like every like King Henry VIII, Mary, like Elizabeth, all of that. Like
the old stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm just like, you know, or like stories about
fiction.
like Queen Elizabeth and her husband. Like
in high school, for example, I was never a writer. I like hated any opportunity to write, but I could not shut up. Like I would talk every single second I could and shouldn't be talking, and I think that's something we
absolutely never. I am hurt that you would imply such of me.
I've seen your Instagram stories, so like I just would always talk. I love sharing like my thoughts and opinions, whether they were gossip or otherwise. I was like could not shut up. So anyways, it served me well because now I work in social media, but.
And in your free time, social media.
Like social media left, right, and center, which conversation for another day. I pretty much in high school wasn't really like the go-to makeup person. Like I was kind of surrounded by just simple, basic stuff. Like I did have like pretty moderate acne in high school, so that's when I started to get into cosmetics for like covering acne and just like treating my skin kind of how it should be treated. I feel like we grew up in the age where we like went to the internet to find answers where like our parents didn't have that. So I just found this whole world of reviews, products, all that through like magazines and online. And I loved reading like Cupcakes and Cashmere, Cup of Joe. So I actually started blogging 2012 when I wanted more of like a place to share outfits. And then winter happened, and I'm like, Canada is not exactly the place for like a fashion blogger.
Okay, so first of all, Canadian winter is incredible because you can have a beautiful outfit on and then cover it in your parka.
I know, and get it covered in salt.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole like fashion photography thing, and I never really had like a studio to go take photos in. Like indoor photography was not going to happen like fashion-wise. So yeah, like I started my blog, and I remember I never started on WordPress because it seemed too complicated, so I opened up a Blogger website, because you were on Blogger too, right?
Because it seemed too complicated.
Yeah, so I started my blog because I saw these other bloggers mostly in like LA and New York, and I was like, I can do this. So
in Toronto.
In the wild, wild north. So I started reviewing and kind of doing like more fashion stuff, and it was hard. Like I was working a lot in university, and I had school. Obviously I was studying communications and French, and like it was intense, so it was very much a passion project then. And I feel like the years to really grow as a blogger were like 2013, 2014, and being like a university student then, I didn't really like grow to the magnitude that would quantify like a full-time job, so it's always just been a really fun part-time thing. I'll never forget one of the first brands that reached out to me, Revlon and Clinique reached out for like product reviews, because I started reviewing products because friends were asking what products I used and liked, and then that just kind of continued, and I started to adopt like all the platforms that sort of popped up since then.
Okay, so I have to tell you about how I got my first
Oh my god, your first product!
Okay, so I've got like two good ones.
Yeah.
So the first one, it's a brand I still love, I still use, I still have the product in this room, I used it this morning. The first product I was ever offered was from Nail Polish Canada, and it was a wet brush. Just a single wet brush.
Oh, I love that.
And I was just
They're
like...
a great company.
I was just like, oh my gosh, I am being offered a hairbrush.
I am valued.
Me, a hairbrush. I feel like with blogging, like the minute you get offered your first thing, it's like, it's not like a floodgate opens and suddenly Chanel is like, Alana, can I give you a handbag?
Come on a trip to New York.
We're doing a trip to Bali. Bring your friends, right? Yes. It's not, but you know, it's like the minute you get your first one, it's like other brands are like, okay, we'll give you a lip gloss. My second big break was I got reached out to by a brand who claimed to be representing Too Faced, which was a brand I used to use a lot, especially in university. I still use some of their products, but I used to use them all the time. And so they reached out to me, saying that they were representing Too Faced, and that they're working with them on like web and SEO stuff. and that they saw my review and that the brand required me to basically not use like no follow links and to use and I was just like, okay, but I paid for these products with my own money. Like, I don't owe you anything. I don't have to do anything for you. And I just replied back like, oh, like actually like these products weren't gifted. Like I purchased them myself. And they just said, well, like the brand requires you to use like these specific links to the product. And I was just like, excuse fucking me.
Oh, there's so many.
So what I did,
scammy emails.
It was so scuzzy. So what I did was I emailed Two Faced. I said, hey, I got this really weird email from this company.
Good for you.
I looked up their marketing email. Basically, like if you want to find any brand's PR, just Google like brand PR, brand marketing, brand influencer content.
And usually like a PR, like a press release will come out. There's an email. It takes some investigative work.
It's not that hard.
You can do it.
You know, and so I found Two Faced. It was like their marketing PR email.
Awesome.
And so I emailed them and I said, hi there, like, my name's Alana. Like, I love your products. Like, I'm a big fan. I recently got this email from this particular company who said that they're working with you. And they said that I had to use these specific links on my post, but it didn't really sound right. And, I purchased these products with my own money. And the biggest thing you have to remember with blogging is when you purchase a product with your own money, like, you can do whatever you want. You can say the product. I mean, you can do that with gifted products too, but like, truly, like, when you buy a product with your own money, you can, like, you don't owe the brand anything. And look, if the brand gifts you a product and they say, oh, like, could you link to our website instead of linking through Sephora? Like, sure, right? Like, there's a little give and take.
Wiggle room.
But when you buy a product with your own money, like, that is yours, and you don't owe the brand anything.
Yeah, anyone telling you to pay for any kind of shipping,
that's
whatever,
bullshit. Don't do it.
Very bad. Like, you owe them absolutely $0. So
and zero effort.
Very scammy. Yeah.
And so I emailed them, and I was really sweet about it. I was like, it was really confusing to me. It didn't seem right. And so they wrote back to me and they said, you know what? Yeah, like, we did engage this brand, but we had no idea that they were reaching out in that way, and like that is really off-putting.
Good for you.
And so it just makes you wonder, like, how many other like smaller content creators they reach out to,
and that just bow down because they just think they're with the brand.
And so then what Two Faced did is they said, we'd love to send you some products, and they sent me one heck of a box. Like, it had,
you've been like one of their like mainstays for so long. Yeah.
But they sent me this big box with like all these bronze. I got on their PR list, and I don't get as much from them anymore, but I used to get a ton from them. And it all just happened because I reached out and I said, hey, I got this email from a brand who said that they were representing you, and it just didn't sound right. And I'd say the biggest thing is like, trust your gut, and like, just think like some of the brands, like, whether it's like Charlotte Tilbury, Too Faced, Dior, Chanel, like, these are huge global brands. And if someone is claiming to be reaching out on their behalf and it doesn't feel professional, and it doesn't feel like it's at that level that you're going to expect from a brand like that, like, feel free to email, like, go on their website and find an actual email for like PR at
like a contact us. Yeah, absolutely.
And just reach out, and like, maybe nothing comes of it, but it worked out really well for me.
And this would be like a whole other topic, is like how to fact check things or whatever, because like you always have to look at a signature of who's sending it from. And like, if they don't have a local address, like very rarely I would get something sent from like New York or a different agency, but like most of the time they're going to be in Canada if they're distributing.
Yeah, if you're Canadian.
So yeah, just making sure you like search the like company, the PR agency,
look at
whatever.
Their Insta, like, and the other thing I'll do to check if they're legit, I'll check if real people have tagged them in photos.
So true, like looking at the tagged, images.
I always look at that, and like, I just think the biggest thing is if something sounds off, or if it sounds too good to be true. Like, I remember one time, there's a really common scam around. I got reached out to by a brand that I'd never heard of or ever spoken about, offering to fly me to like some place in, I think it was like Palm Springs or something, to like fly me there to do like some modeling or whatever. And that's like scam 101.
Yeah. That's fake news. So now to the question that I have actually received a few times, not that many times. Not one of those people that people have asked me. It's like, how do you get started online? I have this passion. How should I start? So my piece of advice would be to understand what is trending in terms of platforms. So right now, video is king. People love watching videos, and Instagram Reels are really being pushed a lot. YouTube Shorts. as well as just YouTube in general, I still think is very good. And of course, TikTok is very big right now. You just get a lot of eyeballs on your content there. Alana had a very good point about content length, because I feel like this has changed a lot.
What I found is that when we started, I think, blogging and written content was great, but it's really short form video content. So you look at somebody like on TikTok, like Michaela, right, who's totally blown up with just short form, really quick reviews, just really quick, short form.
I don't even follow her.
Yeah, I don't follow her either, but she's always on my page.
Oh, cool.
Right, because like she just produces so much makeup content.
Nice.
And it's not even to say that she's not exactly like my favorite creator or anything, but to her credit, she was really blown up by just short form TikTok videos. And even like one thing I really try to work on my YouTube is how can I make my videos, which this video will not be, quicker, more concise, more engaging. Like I really try to like take a bushwhacker to my content and just try to trim it down to keep it shorter, because
get out.
One thing that algorithms are always looking at is how much of your video is being watched. Like you kind of have to understand the algorithms for the different platforms you're on. Right. And it's not so much about like hacking the algorithm as much as it is like giving them what they want. And one of the things YouTube measures is how long people watch your video. So if people aren't watching a large percentage of your video,
then it's not worth it.
And actually one of the stats that YouTube gives us is after 30 seconds, how many people are still watching your video.
Nice. Yeah, that's like retention, right? Because why would they promote content that doesn't retain people on that platform or
because what all YouTube wants to do is to keep you watching YouTube videos, so you keep on watching ads on YouTube.
For sure. Yeah, and we'll just
give YouTube what it wants, and it'll give you what you want.
Stay there, right? Because even something like on LinkedIn, we're not talking about LinkedIn, but they try to keep you in the LinkedIn app so that you continue that kind of, I'm going to go on LinkedIn for an hour today versus like, 10 minutes, I'm annoyed or bored, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Any platform wants to keep you on their platform.
Which makes sense. Yeah. That's great. And then another point would be the topic that you want to create content on. First of all, might change once you start. For example, I started with fashion and then realized that, maybe over the winter time, I'm going to do a little bit more beauty, makeup stuff. And that actually took off even more than my fashion ideas and turned out to be something that I felt so natural at. So start with a pretty laser focused objective, because something that I noticed over the years is I've really covered every lifestyle topic, travel, fashion,
so
food.
Much DIY.
I haven't lasered in on one particular topic, which means I haven't like grown as the authority in any area, but it also means that I've been able to consistently make content over 10 years. Because I've been able to like diversify.
And I think the thing is like also you grow and you change over 10 years.
For sure.
Like, you're not the same person much of you are, but like you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. Like
it's so true.
You're not a high school student.
Yeah.
I hope.
Doing like
you graduated
makeup for
right?
the theater group, yeah.
But like you're not a high school student. Like, you are someone who now is
my skin's changed a lot, my fashion has changed a lot.
Your life has changed, right?
Yeah.
Like you're engaged, you're planning a wedding, you are thinking about next steps in life. And like your audience has also grown with you. So it's okay to change, but you need to know.
And so that means like you have to look at your long-term goals, because if this is something like you really want to do full-time work as a content creator, you're gonna have to invest, and you can talk about investing in equipment, but investing in whatever you're talking about is very important. So it might be something that you already have.
People are saying to me, how do you do your makeup?
Yes, what do people ask you about?
What are you good at?
Exactly, and that's the proper thing to maybe start out with, is what already comes naturally to you, because it'll make it easy to kind of create an abundance of content.
Yeah, and I'd say it's okay for that to grow and change, right? Like, I started just as makeup, and when I started with makeup, I was trying to be like, look, I am a luxury girl. I like expensive, pretty things. Shocking. But I like pretty things.
You like the finer things in life.
I like the finer thing, and I'm not going to apologize for that. But when I started, I was like, I have to offer drugstore recommendations. I have to offer, high end. Like, I almost felt, I don't want to say guilty or ashamed for wanting to just focus on luxury.
Interesting.
But I just felt like, that I couldn't, like, that people wouldn't like me if I only focused on that.
Okay.
And that's not the case, right? But, there really is an audience for everybody on YouTube. But when I started, I felt like I had to be everything to everybody. But when you're everything to everybody, it means you're nothing to nobody. Because the people who love, like, one brand I talk about a ton is Charlotte Tilbury. People who love Charlotte Tilbury, Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, they're more likely to also like Chanel and Dior than they are to be interested in Essence and Maybelline. And look, plenty of people like things across the board, but you know, for me, what I realized is when I was trying to be everything to everybody, I couldn't stay on top of all the releases, and it wasn't great. Like, my content wasn't great. And so
you weren't as passionate about it too, maybe.
Yeah, and I didn't wake up feeling like I had to share. And so what I've actually really done on my channel over the last 2 years, and you know, I've had growth that I'm really proud of. I mean, it's not like, you know,
astronomical,
but I'm really proud of it.
It's seriously like winning the lottery if you take off, like, and have, it's like, to be that kind of celebrity status online is not like a formula. It needs a bit of a strike
hard work
of luck.
and a strike of luck.
Like, lots of hard work, but it doesn't mean that just because you're putting in hard work, you're going to reach that status either. Like, in the workforce, if you put in the hard work, you're probably going to get a promotion, whereas here, that's not guaranteed.
Like, it's kind of like a weird popularity contest, but you know, it's like, so for me, like, I've really taken a look at what are the brands that do well for me, and shockingly, they're the brands I actually love talking about. And so I really have just narrowed it down. You know, I'll still talk about launches from other brands, or I'll try products here and there, but the overwhelming majority of my makeup content is really focused on the brands that do well for me. And the other kind of third of my channel, I feel like I'm like 2/3 makeup, 1/3 luxury handbags.
Yes.
Because I posted a luxury handbag review, and it did incredibly well. And so I started producing more luxury content, and it does really well on my channel. And if you sort my videos by most viewed, it's luxury handbags and Charlotte Tilbury.
Absolutely. And so we're kind of talking from, purely video, because I think that would be a recommendation. If you don't like video, there definitely is still a place for written content.
Yeah.
Blogs still come up, but that's a whole other world.
The only thing I wanted to say about blogging, we were kind of chatting about this, a little bit of the structure for the video, is I started with a blog, and the only people who commented were other bloggers. And what I noticed is that there were tons and tons of people looking at it. Like, you can see your stats, you can see what your most viewed posts are, right? Like, you can see that people are looking at your content, but they weren't commenting, and it's kind of demoralizing. Like, you write this whole post, you come up with these great ideas, you take the photos, you edit it, and it'd be really nice if someone just said thanks. And not even like you look pretty or you did a good job.
Thanks for doing this.
You know, and like, because it really is a passion and a hobby. And when I started going on YouTube, I realized that there's actually a community of people out there.
Yeah, it's really nice feedback.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I have this one video about Charlotte Tilbury products that, you know, basically saying that Pillow Talk pulls too orange and too deep, and that these are the alternative to Pillow Talk if you have fair skin. Like, I mean, that's my complexion, that's what I can offer. The other thing I'll say is that when I was trying to be everyone to everyone, I would try to make recommendations for people with medium and deep skin.
Oh, it's so hard.
But I can't do that. Like, I'm not a makeup artist.
Yeah.
I can make recommendations for me, and what works for me, and that's all I can share. And, you know, and just like, I can't give acne recommendations.
For sure.
I've never had acne.
Exactly. You have to give like a bit of a trial period too, because it really has to be like, if you want to create content, it has to be out of love, not out of like a goal to make money or to get products, because that will show through in a sense. Like, obviously,
my goal is just always to make content that helps people, and like,
it really is a labor of
and
love
that video
to,
is
like,
mentioning, like,
help the people.
What I find so rewarding is I've had a number of people comment on that video and say, this is exactly what I needed. Thank you so much. It doesn't look good on me. I don't like that either. I love these recommendations. And I'm like, that's why I do it. And I wasn't able to get that out of blogging.
And it's not always instantaneous. Something like Instagram Reels and TikTok has to be somewhat instantaneous, which I find to be a bit exhausting sometimes. But oftentimes with YouTube, you just have to put your content out there, and if you love it, someone else will. But it can take like a few months for something to pick up even. So just let it go.
So you say this.
Don't get discouraged. Just
one of the stats that YouTube shows us is in the last 48 hours, what are your top 3 viewed videos?
Cool.
And how many views they got. And so typically for me, those are usually like the last 3 videos I posted. But over the last month, you have 2 videos. It's usually my number 1 viewed video in the last 48 hours is always the video I most recently posted.
Yeah, just the new one.
But you know what's been coming in those top 3 spots? Like, there's 3 videos that have been kind of moving around in there. One of them is 18 ways to use your Louis Vuitton key pouch. Cool. That video has gotten consistently 1,000 views a month.
Good for you.
Since I
that's
posted
awesome.
It. Right,
That's
and
great.
so it didn't have like, you know, I think it's maybe around 13,000 views now, or 15, something like that. But it didn't have 13,000 views
like
the day I posted it.
Yeah.
But nearly a year later,
She's aged well. She's aged well. If you know that content helps you and helps other people, be confident in what you're putting out there, because that ever new content that will forever just be
search.
And I think too, like, asking for trusted advice is so good. Like, my sisters, for example, my sister Lauren in particular has always been such a fantastic editor, and an incredible supporter of my, like, she always proofreads everything.
That's so nice.
I know, my blog posts, and she would always send me like little typos to fix. So kind, but she would also say like, this sounds a little bit blah, or use less, you know, exclamation points. And I'm gonna
I love this, and I love this, and thank you.
It becomes so disingenuous if you like seem too excited about things. This book called Blog Inc. is a fantastic book from 10 years ago, but it's still quite relevant on like how to create good content online. And that taught me just an immense amount of tips that I've kind of kept up throughout. Yeah, really good.
I guess the other thing, you know, I would just say is like, when you're developing your niche, like, it's okay for it to grow and change. Like, you know, I sort of mentioned, like, you want to think when you build an audience, your audience hopefully will grow with you, right? So, you know, the audience, you know, that was enjoying, like, I know for myself as someone who watches content, like, before I got married, you know, and before we got engaged, it was really fun to watch, like, someone who's, like, a step ahead of you who's, like, engaged.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you get engaged, it's kind of fun to watch, like, a content creator who's, like, just getting married. And then once you get married, it's kind of fun to watch, like, you know, maybe some, like, pregnant content creators who are sort of sharing, like, this is my pregnancy journey. I kind of like it as a way to sort of prepare for the next step. And this is my hobby. And
the truth is, like, we've made money creating content in the past. Brands
not tons.
It usually just goes back into the hobby, but it does kind
Where
of
do you think the
bring
cameras
you.
come from?
I know. Well, I know. Investing in good equipment is something you also recommend. Although a good iPhone can get you pretty far, but a like DSLR camera is kind of still the best.
And honestly, lighting. You know, like in this room, we've got a ring light, 2 soft boxes. And my pot lights, the ceiling lights, are at their brightest.
So yeah,
I just try to fill and a big window. I try to just flood the room with light.
It makes a very worthwhile impact on your audience when they can see what's going on.
Honestly, just start. And you're gonna suck.
And like, you don't have to tell people about it as well.
No, you don't have to tell anybody.
That's how we start, but like, be confident as well.
I was very secretive about it, but you just have to start, and and I say you're gonna suck, and I say that with so much love.
You might not be the best.
You're not going to be producing, you know, Rach Loves Desi Parkin quality videos.
And it might not turn out the way you want, but even if it's not perfect, try to
just
post the
it.
Content. Yeah.
And just, you know, keep trying and try again. Like, you know, when you are producing on YouTube, you are the director, star, editor, production assistant, lighting assistant, thumbnail designer.
There's always something, like someone better and worse than you too, so you're fine. You need to take criticism and realize that you're part of a community.
You know, this is a hobby, at least on day one. You know, if you're doing this for monetization, like, I hate to break it to you, but people always ask me, like, I've had a number of people ask me, like, oh, Lan, like, are you trying to go full time? Like, no.
No, it's a very lonely job for the most part too. That's a whole other conversation.
And I have to be making a lot of money.
Our lifestyle in Canada, like even just the cost of living, does not correlate with like the American YouTube
world
price.
It's not. It's just not the same.
Yeah, like it doesn't go hand in hand.
Yeah, they're not friends. They're not sisters, they're not twins, they're not cousins.
It is a very nice hobby and something
beautiful hobby. And a hobby that enhances my lifestyle.
Oh my god. But so fun.
But like, you know, make your content, you're gonna suck. Like when I started, I had like my camera on piles of books. I'd say you're gonna want to have a DSLR.
Good computer to
editing software, lights, like.
And if you want to know more before, like I, for example, didn't care to edit. I still don't like editing that much, so I just sort of like did one take wonders and like very minimal cuts. But yeah, paying for like an editing software is something that's going to be important.
It costs $500.
Yeah, it's an expensive hobby. But
I only have to pay that once.
It's true, and there are courses like you might want instead if you want like faster growth. Producing very good content will require some kind of education. So if you're in university, you might be able to take courses on video editing in your spare time or at your college or what have you.
But honestly, even just like I find that every video I make, I tweak something to be a little better. And I'm finally at the point where
it gets better.
It gets better. I'm finally at the point where I'm pretty happy with my content.
You do need definitely a good budget. I would probably say like if you need a camera and a whole like, you know, background and whatnot, you might be $2,000 down the line,
Yeah.
so you do need
And I also,
some spare cash.
one thing I do, and I'm happy to do it, is I actually update my background seasonally. So right now we have
such a good idea.
I go to HomeSense, I'm like, it's a business expense. But, you know, I've got, like, my little pink velvet pumpkins behind me and, like, my little vintage vase and stuff. And, you know, I just purchased all my Christmas decor.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be a beautiful pink winter wonderland. But, you know, it's just, like, there's ongoing costs. And so I think the best way to view it is like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some people's hobby is horseback riding and some people's hobby is blogging.
For sure.
And some people's hobby is gardening.
And if you love it, it will show. And if you want to start reaching out to brands, you definitely have to have like a bank of content. Showing that you're passionate and able to create really great work is something that brands will definitely just fawn over.
And no brand wants fuzzy, unpolished content. Like,
or just,
and nobody wants to watch poor quality content.
Blasé material. Yeah. Even though you might feel like, because when we started, truly, there weren't that many people online. Everybody and their mother has like an Instagram channel. You can differentiate yourself just by being you and by showing your expertise in whatever subject you love and whatever subject you want to grow in. So good luck. We're here for you. If you have any questions, be sure to follow Alana if you haven't.
Follow me. And my number one tip is to find a friend in your same niche. So that way
very
you can do videos like this.
Absolutely. Find someone who you can bounce ideas off of. It's always
and rant with.
Yes. Oh my God, so important. Now that we're allowed to hang out, we'll be back soon for sure.
Bye guys.